Hey everybody, welcome to our Facebook Live session today. Today we're going to be talking about some of the misunderstandings of the role of a chaplain in hospice. And I'm joined by Dwight Shanklin. So Dwight, thanks for being here. He's one of the chaplains here at Hospice of the Chesapeake. So I want to start off with the big question to me is the word chaplain. There's got to be some misunderstandings and miscommunication with that word. Like, people assume it's the same as a priest. Can you help clarify?
It's the culture.
Okay.
The culture has defined what a chaplain is because it's synonymous with chaplain, and you go to the movies. When someone is dying, go call a chaplain. Look at all the war movies. Call a chaplain, So when you hear the word chaplain, first thing it says, am I dying or I'm not dying? And why are you calling somebody when I feel that I don't need that right now? So there's a whole lot of negative stereotypes that equate with the word chaplain, and it makes people uncomfortable, and it makes our job that much more challenging.
Okay, I'm sure. And especially with, just even a priest coming in and saying last rites, like that's gotta be a huge barrier, right? If you guys just forgot to mention, if you'd like to join our conversation, feel free to join in and post comments, questions, share. We're happy to take questions if you have any while we're chatting. One of the things that I think would be helpful to clarify too is, we touched on it, so a chaplain's not the same as a priest. Is a chaplain part of any specific religious denomination or Christianity versus Judaism? Is there any connection that way?
Chaplains don't ascribe to any particular religion. We are interfaith.
Okay.
We may come from different religions, like say Catholic or Jewish or Protestant or Islamic or Buddhist or a naturalist.
Okay.
But our practice, we meet people exactly where they are, and we come with a no judgment zone or no proselytizing. We want to meet people where they are and where they find their place of centered and comfort. And the word I like to use is what gives them light anytime they're faced with darkness in their life.
So what gives them light anytime they're faced with darkness? So when you are brought in to the journey, so you're part of the team for hospice care, for end-of-life care. When your role, or when you personally are brought in, explain that to me. How does that happen?
Well, the interdisciplinary team is consistent of the medical doctor, nurse practitioner, home health care aide, social worker, skilled nurses, chaplains, and volunteers.
Okay.
Now we work together, and we provide holistic care. We want to service the whole patient, whatever their needs are. That's why the team is assembled. I am brought in to deal with the spiritual needs of the patient, whatever that may be. Mm-hmm. Some ask for prayer, some may ask for music, some may ask me to help them in imagery. I like to use that term imagery because the root word for imagination is that sometimes they have to reimagine their life now than what they used to know, and that brings them comfort and peace. But also, in addition, I'm brought in to help them sort through the catalog of their life.
Okay.
And they like to reminisce about a lot of things. And then there's some, they just need somebody to sit with them, and I bring that presence to be with them along their journey.
So when you go into, or when you're brought in, do you introduce yourself as, hi, I'm Chaplain Dwight Shanklin?
I usually don't.
Okay.
Because I want to diffuse the situation if they have any negative connotations about the word chaplain.
Okay.
I may use the word, I am a fellow staff member, I'm part of the interdisciplinary team, I'm part of your team to help you, and sometimes I partner with a nurse or a social worker. Mm-hmm. For an introduction, but my main goal is to reduce the anxiety level, to not have any type of negative connotation of me coming in, but get to know me and what I can provide.
That's awesome. So walk me through it a little bit. So you go into a room, you've just introduced yourself as a member of the team. And it sounds like you try and meet people where they are. So it really is an individual sort of experience.
Right.
Is it necessary that you have to sit there and pray with the person? I mean, is there some sort of element of, this is an itinerary, like this is what we need to do, or is it really?
No script.
Okay.
And one of the things, since I used to be out in the field as a chaplain, now I'm a clinical educator, is that I'm explaining to all the chaplains, I said, there is a chameleon-like quality that we should all inhabit when we go to see a patient, because every patient is unique, every patient is different, everyone has different needs. And so it could be someone could request prayer, that happens. I've had people ask, do you want to play cards? I've had people have conversations, long conversations, about, do I know how to make small batch handcrafted bourbon?
That's awesome.
So it is really, you're in the moment for the patient, whatever the patient needs that brings comfort, to help pain management, and to ensure that they get the kind of quality of care and respect and dignity that they deserve as they're approaching end of life.
That's cool. That's got to be a cool place to be.
It does it. One of the things, the byproducts of working in hospice is that it teaches more to me than sometimes I feel I give to our patients. Because one of the things that happens is that it teaches you how to live or not live, just through your own personal experiences. And I want to make this point, is that we're just not here for the patients, but we're there for the entire community, and that includes our staff.
Right.
All of us from time to time be encouragement. All of us from time to time face life challenges, and sometimes just a word of encouragement, or someone just to say nothing but to just stand with you in solidarity and saying, you know what, I'm with you.
Right. Just your presence. Just be there. That would be really powerful. So if you're just joining us, we're talking with Dwight Shanklin today. It's National Pastoral Care and Spiritual Care Week that goes from October 20th through the 26th. So in honor of that, we're sort of trying to make sure we all understand the role of a chaplain in hospice and end-of-life care and serious illness, I guess, even just that whole journey. That what does a chaplain do as far as helping and working through that? And so kind of just broken down a couple of things. Chaplain is not affiliated with any particular religious faith or denomination, and it's just more of an open interfaith. While people might come from different orientations of faith themselves, they're there with the person who needs it, and whatever works for them, it's very centered on that individual, which is awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the difference between being spiritual and being religious, and how does that play into end of life? There's some differentiation there. If you can, let's
Right.
break that apart first.
Oh, real simple as that. As a chaplain, we can't contact any patient's religious affiliation. We work with pastors, we work with imams, we work with rabbis, we work with priests, we work with Buddhist monks, anyone that the patient is affiliated with that is on the religious side, and we can be go-betweens to keep them apprised of what their parishioner might request from them, and also assist. But on the spiritual side is, as I said before, there's a chameleon-like quality where even a person who's an agnostic or an atheist, we still can connect with them, because one thing I learned is that agnostics and atheists, they never said they don't believe in a higher power. They just don't believe the particular power that you believe in.
Mm-hmm.
They may believe in something else. And that's why I bought, even though it's somewhat humorous, the conversation about small batch bourbon, is that you meet people with what makes them feel good inside, or what gives them direction, or what centers them. I did a service for someone who's a naturalist. We were out in the woods.
Tell me what that means. What
A
does it mean to
naturalist
you?
is someone who believes in nature and that all life starts and stops with nature.
Okay.
And so when they transitioned to death, we did a service out in the woods in southern Maryland. It was a very peaceful service, and the person went out into the woods and wanted to be planted near an oak tree. And the service provided was all about nature and how nature sustains us and equips us and protects us. And it was a very enlightening experience to be a participant in that type of ritual, which was totally different than I'm accustomed to, but it was so rewarding to be a part.
That's cool. That's awesome. What about, so we've talked a lot about the interaction you have with the patient in and of themselves, but you know, the patient, the person that's experiencing the end of their life is surrounded by a lot of other people, I'm guessing for the most part, family members, spouses, children. What's your interaction with them? What kind of role do you play with that?
Well, we service not the patient, but the family as well.
Okay.
And the family is a package deal.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that comes out of working with a patient is that you become, just by proximity, another family member. And they confide in you. I mean, you'd be surprised at some of the things that people feel comfortable in sharing with you, because during this crisis, during this time of trauma, you bring up a presence of calm, a presence of peace, a presence of understanding, which is helpful and encouraging for family members who really sometimes are at their wits' end, and they need a voice to help steer them through these treacherous waters that they're trying to navigate, sometimes by themselves or sometimes with family members that seem to be absentee, and they're literally doing it all by themselves. So we form a bond of not only support but assistance to them greater than they thought when we first introduced ourselves. So one of my experiences is that, sometimes I have to remind families, it's like, I'm not your pastor or priest or rabbi or imam, because even though I'm present and I've been with you on this long journey, I'm not here to supplant anyone that you've affiliated with.
Right. You're that supportive role, and but I'm guessing it's a powerful role, because you are in that moment of vulnerability, and there's that time of transition. It's a time of transition, and it's just this powerful part of people's lives, whether it's the person that's no longer going to be here or the loved ones that are going to have to let them go, that you're sort of walking that beside them. So I would think that people open up to you and sort of, embrace you to kind of lean on.
It is that moment of vulnerability that all of us can identify with, because death is a universal experience. It is just not for a few, it's for all. And that unifying piece of vulnerability brings us closer in as humans. Everybody understands pain.
Yeah.
And also everyone understands care. Everyone understands love. And through care, we show in a loving way to be supportive not only for the patient but the family as well, which unifies us in that delicate state of vulnerability that they're in during end of life. So it does link us and form a relationship that some people did not expect.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to break.
Yeah, I can imagine. So we're just about out of time. I need to wrap things up, and I'm curious a little bit about like your own personal journey, how you got here, and you mentioned briefly about your role as training chaplains. So if you could just touch on that and tell me a little bit more about you and how you got to be what you're doing now.
Well, chaplaincy was a requirement when I was in seminary down in Richmond, Virginia at the Pastoral School of Theology, and that's where I got bitten by the bug of clinical pastoral care.
Okay.
And I made a promise to myself that I would pursue that once I finished other academic pursuits in theology. So I went to Washington Hospital Center, got my chaplain internship, and worked as a part-time on-call chaplain for them for several years. Then I applied for a residency on completing of 4 units of pastoral education.
Okay.
I then moved on to St. Elizabeth Hospital, did another residency, and which led me to Hospice of the Chesapeake to work 2 years in hospice chaplaincy, and then this past year I moved up to clinical educator for the chaplain discipline.
So you're not just educating the chaplains, you're providing education for other members of the team.
Of the team,
That's
the nurses,
huge.
the
So they
social
understand
workers.
what the role is and get a better feel for.
The onboarding is basically the holistic care that hospice provides, and I see everyone who comes through this door as new employees.
That's awesome. Thanks for taking the time to be here with me and tell
my
me
pleasure.
a little bit more, and everyone a little bit more about the role of a chaplain, and kind of hopefully we all understand it a little bit better. If you want to like, share, comment later, we'll try and add any additional insights that we can, but thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.